Okay, so when we're looking at number 5, we want to see which one is going to be the easiest to clear out, either the x's, the y's, or the z's. On our x's, we notice that we have a 1 coefficient, and we have these two numbers, -3 and 7. On y's, we have a 7 and -6, so x seems easiest. Next, we need to define which equation are we going to use more than once. Well, this has the 1 coefficient, so this is the one I'm going to use more than once. So I want to write my two equations that I'm only using once down. So -3x plus 7y minus 2z equals a -35. And the other equation I'm only going to use once is going to be that 7x minus 6y minus 5z equals 32. Now let's figure out, what do I need to multiply the first equation by in order to cancel out my x's? So if I'm trying to cancel out a -3, I would need to multiply this equation by 3. So that means I hit every single thing inside here. So x times 3 is 3x. Y times 3 is 3y. 3z times 3 is 9z. 12 times 3 is 36. When we do that, we're going to now add them, and your x's cancel out, which was our goal, and you end up with 10y plus 7z equals 1. Now let's look on the other equation. And so this time we're trying to cancel out x, but our x is 7. So I need to multiply that first equation by -7 in order to cancel it, because we need it to be the same number, opposite signs. So when I multiply it by -7, x times -7, -7x. Y times -7, -7y. 3 times -7, -21z. Equals 12 times -7, which is -84. Again, our x's cancel out, and we're left with -13y minus 26z equals a -52. All of those numbers are divisible by the same thing. They're all divisible by 13. I'm going to divide 13 to all of those numbers. And so we end up with y minus 2z is equal to 4. And the reason I did this is it gave us a simpler equation to work with. And so since I was able to see a number that would divide into all three equally, it gives me an easier number to work with. So now we're going to take this information and we're going to use it to help us knock out either the y or the z. It's too far up. And so looking here, if I want to cancel out the z's, I have to multiply both equations. But if I want to just cancel out the y's, all I need to do is take my second equation and multiply it times -10, and I now have opposite signs on that equation. So that first equation becomes 10y plus 7z is equal to 1. And our second equation becomes negative 10y minus 20z is equal to negative 40. Oops. So when I do that, the y's will cancel out, leaving me with negative 13z is equal to negative 39. And so this is where we got down to the two equations. We're down to the one equation, which is at step 3. Now we're going to solve it. And so when we're solving it, we're taking and dividing both sides by a negative 13. And so z is equal to 3. So we now have what z is equal to. Now we're ready to start going into, that's our fourth step, finding out what x and y are. So we're going to plug it back into one of our equations. I want to take the blue equation. And so y plus 2 times 3 is equal to 4. So y plus 6 is equal to 4. Subtract the 6 from both sides. And so y is equal to negative 2. So we got the next letter solved for. So that's step 5. We got 2 letters. Now step 6. We take one of the original equations. Your choice. I'm going to go with the top one because it's an easier one to work with. And we're going to use it to help us work through the problem. And so it was x plus my y, which was a negative 2, plus 3 times my z, which was 3, is equal to 12. So negative 2 plus 9 is equal to 12. So x plus 7 is equal to 12. So x is equal to 5. So I now have x, y, and z. So my solution is 5, negative 2, and 3.